All right. So yeah, I thought I would do a very probably short stream, but I had an idea last night for a change I wanted to make to one of my patches, and I just thought it would be fun to share the process. So um, the patch I was going to change is this one, DT Dream Team. It's kind of a two-part patch, a two-part abstraction. There's the like top part and the bottom part. And basically the way it works is it receives a stream of values from 0 to 1. So if I turn this up a little bit, so these are the like values that are getting interpreted into the melody you hear. So it receives this looping sequence of values, and then um, it's got four voices it's sending frequency information to. So basically, the way it works is each of these four voices is scaling this value in its own unique way. So one of them might scale, so they're all going to scale from somewhere in this range. So the lowest they're going to go is MIDI note 47, and the highest they're going to go is MIDI note 90. So maybe this voice goes from MIDI note 80 to 90. Maybe this one goes from 50 to 90. Maybe this one 40 to 50, and this one, or I guess 47 to 50. Maybe this one 47 to 80, or whatever. But they all have their own randomly chosen ranges within this kind of larger range, and then they kind of interpolate this value within their own ranges. Um, so you get like, the idea was to turn a single sequence into potentially something that's like harmony, you know. Uh, and the values getting output here are quantized to this mode and with this base MIDI frequency. And I can do other fun stuff like introducing a ramp. So when each voice needs to get from its current note to its next note, they can take this many milliseconds to get there, so they can get really crazy. There's also a chance that they kind of screw up and don't output the next note, and instead accidentally output the current note again. So they kind of, it's like if you're, I don't know, it just results in some interesting variations on the sequence. So if I turn it all the way down, they're just always going to be stuck on the same current note, regardless of the value that's coming in. And the higher I go, the more they'll start honoring this. And if you leave it kind of high, then they're mostly doing the same sequence, but they kind of screw up sometimes, which is a little fun. Anyway, so that's how this works. And the final thing is this reroll. So they all have their random ranges within this kind of larger range, but maybe two of them are dissonant or they're clashing or whatever. With this, I can tell each voice to choose a new random range within this larger range. So we get some kind of different harmonic content in there. So the idea that I had was that, as you could hear, it's always all four voices going at once. Oh. But I was thinking it might be neat to add a another control, add a new control that will determine how many voices get heard. So this one's just choosing the pitch information. This one is doing the envelope. The filter envelope is how it's all working. So here's the attack, hold, decay, sustain, release for the envelope. The cutoff, it's a low pass, and then the resonance. And then this is the panning. Each voice has a random panning assigned to it. And if you don't like the panning, I guess I'll show this too. So like this is as panned as they're going to get. And then if I don't like how they're randomly panned, I can do this reroll. So this one's much further on the right to my ear. This one's more on the left. Or I can decrease the spread and they'll kind of return to this completely center mono all the way to the left, but you can kind of start approaching their randomly chosen spreads. I keep getting sidetracked, it's too late, but yeah, so the idea is that every one of these bangs, instead of triggering the envelope for all 4 voices, maybe it'll only trigger the envelope for one voice if the setting is at 1 or 2 voices. And with that, maybe if you could keep it at 1 for most of a sequence or something, and then every now and then raise it to 2 or 3 or 4 to kind of almost have like a chord join in. And you could automate how many voices are playing. So yeah, it could basically be like a single melody playing with a single voice. And then on select notes where you turn up that control, then these other voices kind of join in for like a chord hit or something, was the idea I had when I was falling asleep last night. So let's see if we can do that. So I think we're gonna actually need to apply it here. So this top one is the one that decides the pitches for the 4 voices, and then in between them you can make the voices sound like whatever you want. So here they're just saw waves with some vibrato, and then you pass them in here, and then this one again chooses it whenever it receives a bang here, it's gonna trigger the envelope with these kind of envelope settings, filter envelope for a low pass filter, and then also pan them, and then this one makes it so they may or may not sound, but I'm not going to explain that just because I have been talking for too much before I want to go to bed. But I'm going to see if I can do this before I go to bed. So first, I think I'm going to need to add a new parameter. So I'm going to just call it voice count. And that's going to be an integer that we clip from 1 to 4. Kind of want it to be above maybe maybe we'll go there, then this one is going to be voice count, and then this will have a parameter, goes from 1 to 4. Oh wait, how does this work? There we go. And I want it to be just integers. I guess I don't really have a parameter thing that will limit it to integers. I'll have to do that another day. So that's gonna go here, and that will go into the outlet, and then I'll have to change the Graphing size, let's say like 61. 281, 271. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so here's our new parameter, but it doesn't do anything yet. So here, we're going to need to do something with it. Voice count. And again, that's going to be an integer that we clip from 1 to 4. Okay, so how does this work? So we receive the bangs here, and every time we receive a bang, we just trigger the envelope. So I guess this is going to be pretty easy. We're just going to need to have a spigot. Where should I put it? I think I'll put it out here. And just sometimes, okay, so we'll receive the voice count. And if that is greater than or equal to 1, okay, so that will work for the first voice, the second voice. Yeah, okay, this is going to work. So we've got our spigots. And we basically just need to do this for each of them. Cool. So all the way to the left, we'll always get the leftmost voice, or the first voice. It may be panned anywhere. Then, so we turn it up, we'll start to get a second voice and a third voice, and then finally a fourth voice. And I think I want that to default to 4, but I'll figure that out in a second. So instead of the gate going into the chain, first we need to go through the spigot. We'll clean this all up later. Something like that. Okay. Cool. Should that work already? I feel like that should work already. Let's see. Do a quick test. So I'll turn the audio back on. So definitely just one voice. Now if I turn this up, 2 voices, 3 voices, 4 voices, yay! Cool, okay, that was very easy. Now I'm gonna, might be cool if that were like, sequenced. So let me try sequencing it. So add that in as the voice count. Yeah, it works. Okay. Oh, I broke the maybe. That's not working. What did I do? Seems like we're not even... Did I disconnect it here? Yeah, I did. Okay. There we go. So I didn't explain what this did before, but all the way up, then the envelope for each voice. This is a percentage chance that each envelope is going to trigger when a bang is received. So at 1 it means every time we get a bang, then all 4 envelopes will definitely trigger. At 0, every time we get a bang, none of them will trigger. And then at like 0.5-ish, there's like a 50% chance, given a bang, that each envelope will trigger. So you can kind of drop it to get some more interesting variation. So I guess in addition to the voice count, this is another way that we may not hear all the voices, because some of them might randomly drop out because of this.